Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee. Today we're going to talk about my bookish plans for November. So let's get started. First is a book that I've talked about several times on my channel. This is my second, or it may possibly even be my third read of this book. I first read it way back in the day when it first came out. It says that it was copywritten in 1983, and I might have read it in 84 or 85. And I'm reasonably sure that I read it again in the later 80s. So this book is Home Before Morning. It is by Lynda Devanter and Christopher Morgan. And this book is about a young nurse who goes to Vietnam. She joins the army in the mid-60s, and she volunteers to go. She ends up being stationed in Pleiku, which is located in the central highlands of Vietnam. It's probably not one of the more famous places that you've heard of in Vietnam, but there was a very active evac or evacuation hospital there during the war. So their job was to accept, triage, and repair the wounded to the extent possible, and then send them on to another hospital where they could receive more comprehensive care and hopefully recuperate. So almost immediately upon entering Vietnam, this young nurse is thrust into situations that are very, very stressful, emotional, and traumatic for her. Now, if this plot line sounds kind of familiar to you, it's because a very similar story was recently written, fictionalized, in the book The Women by Kristen, which I said I wasn't going to talk about anymore on my channel, but hey, what the heck? It goes along with this book. This is the nonfiction version, and this is the fiction version. But yeah, this, the only difference is, like I say, or I shouldn't say the only difference, but I mean the big difference between the two stories are the fact that one is nonfiction and one is fiction. So in this book now, Lynda Devanter provides her actual account of her experiences, not only in Vietnam, but also in the aftermath. Lynda became a leader and an activist for nurses who had been in combat. She did a lot of work with veterans who were suffering with PTSD. She also struggled with PTSD herself, and she was very instrumental in calling attention to the condition. And now we have a very strong awareness of that as a diagnosis, but it wasn't so back then. Her voice is an important one, and I'm thoroughly enjoying my reread or my reread. So yeah, very good book. Next, we have a book that I'm choosing simply because it has November in the title. And that book is called November Road by Berney. Now, first, I have to point out, I absolutely love the cover. You have this torn edge right here, and then you have a headline, Kennedy assassinated. So it seems to me that they're saying that this is a story that is literally ripped from the headlines. This is historical fiction. It is a mystery thriller. And here's how Goodreads summarizes the story. They say, set against the assassination of JFK, a poignant and evocative crime novel that centers on a desperate cat and mouse chase across 1960s America, a story of unexpected connections, daring possibilities, and the hope of second chances from the Edgar Award-winning author of The Long and Far Away Gone. So now, when I purchased this, and I think it was one of my famous $1 books from Goodwill, I don't think I realized that I have read another book by this author, Berney. I actually read The Long and Far Away Gone, and I considered it to be very good. I read it probably about the time that it first came out, and that was in 2015. So now I'm really excited to read this book. So yeah, November Road. Next up is a book that I've showed you before. I just got this about a month or so ago. It is called A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall. This is an advanced reading copy that I won in one of the Goodreads giveaways. It will come out in February 2025. And of course, part of the deal when you win a book is that you will review it. And I would, really like to have some time to read it, absorb it, and then, do a good review of it. So where it comes out in February, that'll be a good time frame for me. So I'm familiar with this author now. I did read her book called No One Can Know, and I'll show you that. I read that last December, and this was the book of the month for December. I did review it on my channel, and I'll put a link to that review in the description if you're interested in that. Now, I may wait a bit to start this Killing Cold because I would like the weather to be at least chilly when I read the story, and it's actually been quite warm. So I may read it kind of like towards the end of, November and just kind of cross it over into December. So we'll see. But yeah. Okay. So next up is a book that is by an author that is unfamiliar to me, not like those other ones. They all kind of had a link to each other, didn't they? But this one is by someone that I have never read before. This is The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. And this is fiction. However, it is historical fiction. And it is one of those books that is very well researched. Colson Whitehead certainly is someone who does his homework. And this is about a boys' reform school in Florida in the 1960s. So, why would I read it now? Why choose November for it? Well, in November, I will be spending a week in Florida, the week of Thanksgiving, actually. So during that trip, I should have some extra time to read and maybe to show you some Florida sites as well. So I'm not sure what those will be yet, but I'm going to try to, do something fun for you with that. So I know when you go to Florida, you should read a beachy romance or a cozy mystery or something, but, that's not how I roll, and you know it. However, in the event that I just, can't take reading about the actual horrors that occurred at this school, I'm also going to bring along a couple of other books, and I can always switch off if this one starts getting to me. But I think in some ways it'll actually be a good time to try to pull it off. So that's only 4 books. Remember, though, there's still my book of the month, and that's on its way as well. In fact, here's a little preview for you. There's actually 2 books coming this month. Remember last month when I wasn't too motivated by the book of the month choices? Well, this month I found 2 that I was interested in. So I used my credit from last month and I added on a second book. I won't tell you what the titles are because I'll do an unboxing when they arrive, as I usually do. But I will say this. Both are different genres. And yeah, so we'll see what they are. And I think it'll be, in all, an awesome reading month. So now, one thing that I do not have on this TBR right now is a banned book. My last one was a couple of weeks ago, and that was The Giver by Lois Lowry. I still need to do my full review on that, which I'll probably do and post this week. Now, that was only number 18 for me so far here in 2024. So that means I need 6 more. Now, I like reading the banned books very much, but I want to do a good job with them and, not just read them, kind of jam them in just to say that I did it. So I have several shorter books of the banned type that I keep together on my shelf. And if I get a notion or if I end up finishing a book sooner than I thought, I'll just take one down and go ahead and read that. So there may end up being an add-on, but otherwise, here's my plan. I just want to keep going into 2025 with the banned book project. Now, certainly when I reach 24, that will be, still somewhat of a milestone, even though it probably will be into the year 2025 by the time I get up to 24. But also, I know I won't stop there. I'll keep going because I don't know if you've seen some of the recent numbers, but it's pretty crazy. It's crazy what's being banned, and it's crazy how much is being banned. So we obviously need to keep talking about it. So we'll call that my banned book standby list, and I'll show you a couple things that are on it. Right now, I have The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. This was banned before banning came into style. And it's what I like to refer to as a classic ban. I also have The Pearl by John Steinbeck. Not really known as a banned book. I like to refer to a book like this as a stealth ban. So it's banned, but no one really seems to know it or acknowledge it. You could innocently read it and only find out later that it's banned. And then as part of the infamous Stephen King ban, we have On Writing, which is banned in some of the Florida schools. Arguably now, Stephen King is one of the most successful authors of our time. He may not be known for his great literature, but he certainly is known for sure. He's an American icon. So when he decides to impart his words about his words to an audience, hey, maybe we should teach it in schools. But no, not in some parts of Florida. Okay, so have we had enough? I think so. Thanks for joining me. And I'm being silly about the bans, but they're serious. And I know you know that. So to all who read and review the banned books, I want to say your work is important and keep it up. So if you like my content, please give me the thumbs up and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you're moved to do so. And happy reading, happy fall. Take care.